All right, in this episode, we talk about speed down the mound into hip to shoulder separation.
And is yoga the best thing for velocity?
Porcio, Stephen Godani here at the @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch and Tip show, where you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch and Tip, hashtag baseball tips. Ask your question, we answer on the show. We got a lot coming at us from Instagram. If you're not on our Instagram, go follow us on Instagram. A lot of questions coming in there. A lot of cool stuff we're putting up there. Stephen Godani's behind a lot of that. Also, too, Snapchat. A lot of cool stuff going on Snapchat. A lot of cool stuff going on Twitter. A lot of cool stuff going on Facebook, where you'll see this video. You might be watching it right now.
Do you know the Snapchat username, just so that they can... If they
Snapchat username is TopVelocity.
It is? That's it?
Pretty sure.
No cap. It has to be exact. Is there any capitals
or
anything? We don't even know.
I think it's TopVelocity. What? What's it showing?
I don't know. 1 second.
I can't see. You're there. I got to log in. He's asked me the question he should know. All right. So we're checking that out, Snapchat. And you have a question, put it out there. We've got a lot going through. We've got a lot to get to. We're doing 2 questions a show now. I hope this helps. Keep it coming. I don't want to burn all these questions and have nothing left for another episode, so keep them coming, guys. I'm loving them. If you bring them, I'll answer them faster.
You want to change it to top? I think it's under Brent Porcio. You want to change
That's my name.
I know, but it'd just be easier for them to
I think it's TopVelocity. We're going to look into this. Let's not do it on the show, right? We're going to look at this, but Snapchat, somewhere, something like TopVelocity. Yeah. All right. So what's the question for today? Dakota Henry 5 asks, how do you improve the speeds down the mound and also the speed of hip to shoulder separation? All right, Dakota. Simple. Speeds down the mound is going to be force in the ground, right? So we have 2 legs. Initially, we're sitting on the drive leg. So the drive leg is going to have to give us speed down the mound. So technically, we have to put a vector. We have to take the ankle to knee vector, and we have to get it linear. No different than a sprinter. Sprinters get on blocks, right? And the reason those blocks were invented was to get their angles more linear in the direction they want to go. So they stride out, and in striding out, it takes your force vector, your ankle to knee, and it brings it down in your back leg as you stride out. So now when I push force in the ground, it takes me in that direction. I have to do the same thing on the mound, but in a lateral position. I'm going to fall with the hips forward and down at the same rate. I'm going to hold the back knee out to maintain stability and torsion. The force vector, the ankle knee, will follow the front hip, and when it gets into about a 55, 50-degree position, that's when I want to open, initiate, drive, and force out of the back leg. That will accelerate me down the mound. Then I want to be able to stop that, and I want the front leg force vector pointing back almost in the same direction. So when I stabilize and extend into my hips, generates more energy up the chain and catapults me forward. And that's going to be the energy. Now, if you're doing that already, or you're having a hard time doing that, it's going to involve 2 things. Strength in the hips and the legs to be able to hold your one leg in that position, meaning at that point before leg drive, you're about 3 feet off the rubber from your hips, and you're balancing on one leg. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of strength. Not only that, you got about 2/10 of a second back leg drive to front leg drive before front foot strike, or back leg drive 2/10 of a seconds before front foot strike, and then 0.2 of a second front leg drive before pitch release. Now we're talking strength in an interval of 2/10 of a second. That's called power. So you're going to have the power in your body to move your body to do that. That's why you need a training program like we have in the 3x Pitch Velocity program to do that. That's going to give us speeds down the mound. Now separation will enhance with, on top of that movement, if you learn how to delay the arm cocking and you learn how to counter rotate the shoulders against your back hip, and now you've got separation there, and they go hand in hand. You got to learn the lower half and then bring in the separation, and you mastered it. And that's really the bread and butter of 3x pitching. There's a lot more to it than that, but right there, if you can do that, that's the bread and butter.
Yeah, you just got to build more force. That's pretty much all he's saying. Start building some more power, start becoming a beast, start learning how to put those that speed and that power into your movements, and that's going to start improving your speed down the mound.
Other question?
The other question is...
Hunter4 James asks, what do you think of yoga for pitchers, and would it increase ball speed? Yeah, yoga for pitchers is good. It's similar to what we would do in a mobility training. Here's the thing with yoga. You go into a yoga class, they don't really know how your hips move and all that, and they throw you into positions and you fight through them, and you hope over time mobility improves. And you know, it kind of does, but not as a laser focused approach as someone like Kelly Starrett's approach, which we like with the supple leopard, where he actually says, okay, you know, where are your issues? And obviously if you come down to 3X Velocity Camp, you've actually been evaluated and measured, so you know where your issues are, and then you can pick up his program and look into exercises in those areas and be laser focused and knock that out. That's probably why Kelly Starrett has said every yoga class he goes to, he's better than the instructor. It's because he knows his problems and he's focused in on them. Problem is, you go to a yoga class, they don't really know your problems, and each exercise really isn't built for a specific part of the body. It's really built as an overall general approach. So it's kind of like yoga to me is like saying, is CrossFit good for pitchers? Initially, it's probably fine. And yoga initially is probably fine, but eventually you're gonna have to get laser focused on what your problems are. And yoga is really not gonna do that unless you're running your own yoga class and you know what moves are gonna help certain things. And that's where yoga, yeah, is gonna be great. If you're running the class and you're prescribing all the certain moves and exercises specific to your needs, and that's where it's gonna be perfect for you. So I'm not really shooting down yoga. I just don't think it's gonna be as specific to your needs when you're really trying to optimize ball speed at this point. And that's what you're talking about. Will it help increase velocity? It's only gonna help increase velocity if it's really specific to your needs, and it's not the only thing. It's just a piece of the puzzle. There's a lot more to ball speed than just mobility. Anything you wanna add?
Yeah, I think yoga can not differentiate between good and bad ranges of motion. So like, for example, like the shoulder or the lumbar spine, it kind of areas that you don't want to get super flexible and get really weak, because when you're getting it flexible, it starts making it weak, which puts you at potential risk for injury. So like the shoulder and lumbar spine are places that you kind of want more stable, so you have to be careful with yoga on that. Also, I think people can have muscle imbalances to where like some people can be really quad dominant and maybe not have that great of hamstrings, and if you're in yoga just not really differentiating between it and really stretching out your hamstrings or something, it can make it really weak, and again, just put yourself at risk of injury. That's my answer on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel more it's just a problem of if you don't understand the exercise they're putting you in, and you're doing your best to get into that position, and you're having to like overcompensate, and it's really not, you know, ideally it's not really the intent of what that exercise was there to do. I think, of course, you could find that in both approaches, but I feel like in a yoga class, because sometimes you're rushed and sometimes you're in a big class and the teacher can't help you, you can easily kind of be going through the exercises and not really actually getting the actual benefits of what those exercises were made for, and it might lead to injury. I wouldn't say it's going to lead to injury, but it might lead to injury. And you know, even though we could argue yoga is great for stabilizing the joints and building mobility and all these things, I'm just saying my point is, in a class, it really isn't going to be as specific to your needs, which you can do in something where you're taking specific exercises that are, you know, flexibility, mobility exercises that are going to help you specific to your needs. And that's my point. I think that's the way I want you to look at it. Is this as specific to my needs as that I need? If not, you need to kind of find and pick exercises that are going to do that and put it in your mobility training. And that's an addition we have in the program. And also eventually I'll probably build into the program is our own mobility training program with it to go with it. All right, good question. If you have a question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at TopVelocity, hashtag Pitch Tips, ask your question, we answer it on the show. Snapchat as well, once we figure out that username. It's there, we don't know what it is. So,
but just try TopVelocity, all lowercase. I think
there you go. And we'll see you on the next episode.